Welcome back, Wolfpack. Brillis here, and this is how to use Entei, the other legendary fire dog Pokemon. So let's go and look at those stats, and those stats, so nice to look at. 115 base hit points, 115 base attack, that's bulk, that's offensive power, that's just awesome right there. 100 base speed, also going to be very usable. 100 base speed, we start getting a nice little competitive tier right there. We can invest into it, we cannot invest to it, we can do whatever I want. There's still a lot of versatility as well as strength in there, so we are still pretty good off. Now, not a huge fan of that 90 special attack, but we can still make it work, and then the defense is solid enough with that 115 base hit points. So this Pokemon's going to be bulk, it's going to hit hard, and it's going to be nice. Look at its typing, pure fire type. Not as good as the pure electric type, arguably, with Raikou, but we can just look at this and say, alright, ground, rock, water weakness. So you don't need to worry unless you see those types, and then we also have a lot of resistances at least. I mean, bug, steel, fire, grass, ice, and fairy. That's a lot of really good resistance trade-off, especially with your defenses. So if we're not worrying about earthquake or anything like that, we can come in, we can switch in, we can make some good usage of our tankiness, and that's going to be just good. Hopping into Pokemon Showdown, we're going to see why Entei doesn't have a lot of usage. Even though it has some very wonderful stats, it doesn't have a lot of things to do, really. It doesn't have sustain like Raikou, and that's going to make it pretty tricky to use. If it's going offensive, then we have to play around that. And its moveset is really weird. Now, if we look right here, it gets Stone Edge, but at the same time, these are moves that it doesn't learn. Like, if you look right here, it's illegal, it doesn't get those. It doesn't get Rock Slide, but it gets Stone Edge. It doesn't get Earthquake, but it gets Bulldoze. Now, Bulldoze has really low base power. You can use it if you want to go for some kind of like defensive outplay, drop their speed, outspeed them kind of idea, but that's why Entei is kind of weird. So I was looking at this, I was thinking, alright, we go Assault Vest. We max out our hit points, we go for max attack investment, and then we just try to crush everything in our way. Adamant Nature, Sacred Fire. Now, Entei is also kind of crazy because it gets Sacred Fire as a level 0 move. So all you have to do is give it a hard scale move relearner thing, and you get Sacred Fire on Entei, and that's going to be very powerful because 50% chance to burn the target. Most likely, you're going to be able to land that burn in 1 or 2 turns, and then it's just a very high chance to get burned. So that means Assault Vest is going to combo very nicely with it. Land the burn, Assault Vest is covering you on the special defensive standpoint, and also it's a 100 base power fire move that's getting Stab. It's going to hit hard, have some 2-8 KO potential from there, and again, it just really combos out nicely. We also have Extreme Speed. That's just priority. Can't go wrong with priority. Stone Edge. While I'm not a huge fan of the 80% accuracy, it is going to add to our coverage, and Iron Head. You can go with Bulldoze, you can go with Iron Head. I like the Fairy Killing. It just makes you really hard, like just a hard Fairy stop. They can't hit you with Stab because you resist it really well, and then you just come in and Iron Head, and that's going to be some extra blow-up damage. However, with the super effective breakdown, Iron Head is only going to have 10 more base power than a Sacred Fire, so a super Iron Head, neutral Sacred Fire. Not really too much of a difference, and since we're not investing in speed on this set, we might not get that flinch chance, so that's just something to consider. And if you want to, you can still Bulldoze, maybe find some speed investment. I didn't really try to crunch the speed numbers, but if you do it for yourself, you can look for an area like you hit certain base speed Pokemon with Bulldoze. They're going to be slower than you with certain investment, but then you're still really tanky. So you pretty much Bulldoze into an outspeed, and then you go for 2-hit KOs that way, while only taking 1 hit. And since you're Assault Vested and potentially burning things and whatnot, you're actually looking at having a lot of really good damage potential, while also staying very tanky. So that's kind of it. You can run Leftovers on this set, like that's a little bit of sustain, but I think Assault Vest is going to be your best option. And then we just have Choice Band. That you might as well come in and Choice Band and go for max damage and hit as hard as you can with Sacred Fire, but then again, you're getting really limited. That Entei does also have access to Flare Blitz, but I don't really want to be using Flare Blitz if I'm playing that tanky standpoint. I don't want to damage myself if I'm already getting outsped in a lot of situations. So what you can do is you can just go for like speed investment. So then that means we're going to want to go Jolly Nature, get a lot of damage in there, but since we're not boosting our attack, it's not going to be very high, and a 100 base speed still isn't outspeeding everything. So we get put in a lot of really weird situations with this, and that's why I was thinking, well, in doubles, Choice Band Entei is going to rock, because that's why I had this set up right here, that you can go Adamant, you can set up a Tailwind, and now your Sacred Fire is going to hurt, just hit like a truck, and you have that Tailwind support. So I mean, hit a Pokemon, you might be able to burn it, you can just forget about it, you can throw out a lot of damage. Flare Blitz, that is a huge amount of neutral KOs right there, and we're just going off that high speed from a Tailwind. So Tailwind supporting Entei, I've seen it used, it can be fairly devastating. So we add the coverage and then we're good to go. Other than that, Entei doesn't really have too many other options. It doesn't have Swords Dance, it can't boost offensively, I mean it can Calm Mind, so maybe you can like Rest Talk Calm Mind into Eruption. that might find some things, but again, now we're just dealing with low base power. That you could Rest Talk Sacred Fire, but that only has 8 PP, and you're going to get gated by that. But you can also have Stone Edge or some kind of other moves, and you might find strength there. But overall, you know, just Entei is going to hit the field, it's going to try to do as much damage, it's just going to be a really standard tank unless you invest a lot of resources into it, and then it can be really powerful because it's a legendary Pokemon. Still has those base stats. If you augment those just a little, you know, you baton pass some speed into it, that way maybe you can run like Choice Band with Flare Blitz and just score 2 or 3 KOs and try to make up for all the lost investment on trying to get a baton pass chain going, something like that. Entei's got tankiness, it just doesn't have like a heavy moveset or enough speed to really make a lot of its risks worth it. So it is risky, but again, playing around that will reward you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's how you use Entei, and I hope you all have a nice day.